The first snowfall of the year had always carried a kind of magic in the quiet town of Eldridge, a sleepy American town tucked between rolling hills and long-forgotten train tracks. But on that cold December morning, the magic felt different, as if the snow itself were holding its breath, waiting for something to unfold. 12-year-old Noah Harris trudged down Maple Street with his backpack slung low and the weight of the world pressing against his small shoulders. Snowflakes clung to his eyelashes, melting into tiny droplets that slid down his cheeks. Though they could have been tears, Noah wasn't sure anymore. His boots, hand-me-downs from a neighbor, were a size too big, leaving uneven footprints behind him. Every few steps he stumbled, but he kept going. He had made a promise, and Noah took promises seriously. Just ahead, the sidewalks shimmered beneath the thin crust of newly fallen snow. The town was still quiet, lights glowing faintly through frosted windows, Christmas wreaths hanging crookedly on doors. Eldridge always looked its prettiest in December, but Noah didn't have much time to admire it. He tightened the straps of his backpack and hurried down the street. Mrs. Carter's house was the last one on Maple, a little crooked cottage with blue shutters and a sagging porch. The old woman was 82, lived alone, and had arthritis so severe her hands shook when she tried to turn doorknobs. 2 weeks ago, Noah had started visiting her every morning before school. What began as a simple chore, shoveling snow and bringing in her mail, had slowly turned into the highlight of both their days, because sometimes the smallest kindness was all a lonely heart needed, and Noah knew loneliness better than most kids his age. He knocked gently. "Mrs. Carter, it's me, Noah." The door opened after a moment, revealing the elderly woman wrapped in a quilted robe, her gray hair tied in a bun. Her eyes brightened the second she saw him. "Oh, thank heavens you're here," she breathed. "The cold is worse today. My hands, they just won't cooperate." Noah smiled, stepping inside. "Don't worry, I've got it." He knelt near the heater, adjusting the old dial until warm air filled the room. Mrs. Carter watched him with a softness that only people who've lived a long time and loved deeply carry in their eyes. "You're a good boy, Noah, a very good boy." He shrugged, embarrassed. "I just like helping." But that wasn't entirely true. Helping made him feel seen. After his mother passed away 3 winters earlier, the world had shifted into something colder. His father worked double shifts at the mill. His older sister attended a community college 2 towns over and barely came home anymore. Grief had rearranged their lives quietly but completely. There were no shouting matches, no drama, just silence, empty chairs, unspoken hurt. So Noah filled the silence with footsteps in the snow. He visited neighbors, carried groceries for elderly folks, fed stray animals behind Kramer's Deli, anything to make the world feel a little less empty. But today, he noticed something different the moment he stepped onto Mrs. Carter's porch. A second trail of footprints. Not hers. Her steps were tiny, dragging. These were heavier, deeper, and they led around the back of the house. A chill climbed Noah's spine. One that had nothing to do with the cold. He glanced over his shoulder. "Mrs. Carter, has anyone been here this morning?" She frowned. "No, dear. Why?" Noah didn't want to scare her. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe just a delivery guy or someone walking their dog. Still, something tugged at him, an uneasiness growing like frost across a windowpane. "I'll go check," he said softly. He slipped out the back door, the wind stinging his cheeks as he followed the mysterious tracks. They curved around the side of the house, stopping right at the old cellar. Door, the one Mrs. Carter rarely used. Noah swallowed. The padlock that normally hung on it was now lying broken on the ground. Someone had been there, maybe still was. Before fear could tighten its grip, Noah heard a sound, a muffled cough from inside the cellar. His heart thumped. He stepped closer. "Hello," he called, his voice trembling. "Who's in there?" Silence. Then, soft shuffling. Noah took a breath and pushed open the cellar door. It creaked loudly as cold air rushed upward. For a moment, he saw nothing but darkness, then a shape shifted in the shadows. A boy, older than Noah by a few years, maybe 15 or 16. His clothes were soaked, his hair matted with melting snow. He looked exhausted, starving, scared. Their eyes met. No, wait," the boy stammered, raising his hands defensively. "Please don't call anyone." Noah froze. He had not expected this. "What are you doing here?" I just needed a place to get warm," the boy pleaded. "I'm not stealing anything, I swear." There was something raw in his voice, desperation wrapped in fear. He wasn't dangerous. He was hurting. Noah's breath softened. "What's your name?" "Eli," the boy whispered. The snow outside thickened, swirling like crushed glass in the wind. Noah stepped aside. Come inside. You'll freeze out here. Eli hesitated. Are you sure? Yes. He offered a hand. Eli stared at it a moment before taking it. And just like that, 2 pairs of footsteps marked the snow dot inside. Mrs. Carter gasped softly when Noah introduced Eli. The older boy stood sheepishly near the doorway, dripping water onto the mat. He's freezing, Noah said quietly. Can we help him? Mrs. Carter's worried look softened into compassion. Of course, she said. Come in, sweetheart. Eli exhaled shakily as if he'd been waiting days to hear those words, as he sat by the heater and wrapped himself in a spare blanket. Mrs. Carter warmed a bowl of soup. When she handed it to him, Eli's eyes filled not with tears, but with something more fragile. Hope, you want to tell us what happened? Mrs. Carter asked, gently. Eli stared into the soup. I ran away. Noah blinked. From where? Denver or near it? Eli's voice cracked. Not a good man. Silence pressed in. I left home 3 days ago, Eli continued. I thought I could make it to my aunt's house in Ohio, but the bus dropped me off at the wrong stop, and I didn't have enough money for another ticket. I've been walking since. His hands trembled. I just needed somewhere to rest. Mrs. Carter covered her mouth. Oh, sweetheart. Noah stood frozen. He had never imagined someone could be going through something so terrifying alone in the cold, with nowhere to go. You shouldn't be out there by yourself, Noah said softly. You could have died. Eli nodded, eyes glossy. I know. I've been scared. More scared than I'll ever admit. Mrs. Carter reached for Noah's hand. Let's think clearly, she said. We need to help him. And as they talked, something shifted in the room, an invisible thread stitching broken hearts together. Noah realized something then. Kindness doesn't just help the receiving heart, it heals the giving one too. When Eli finished eating, Mrs. Carter insisted he rest a while. She prepared the old couch with fresh blankets, humming softly as she worked. Noah knelt beside Eli. You're safe here, he said. Eli closed his eyes. Thanks, kid, really. But Noah wasn't done. He stepped outside, pulling out his phone. There was one person he needed to call. His father, Dad. Noah whispered when the line connected. Hey bud, everything okay? I need your help. Those words were harder to say than he expected. The silence that followed was familiar. His father always took a moment before responding, choosing his words carefully. Tell me what's going on. Noah explained everything. The cellar, the broken lock, the story of a boy who had run from something unbearable. His father didn't interrupt. When Noah finished, he heard the rustle of a coat zipper. I'll be there in 10 minutes. True to his word, Mr. Harris arrived quickly. He stepped into Mrs. Carter's warm living room, snow dusting his shoulders, concern etched across his tired face. When he saw Eli sleeping on the couch, something softened in his expression. Noah waited anxiously. We can help him. Right. His father knelt and brushed the hair from Eli's forehead as gently as if he were his own son. We're not turning him away, he murmured. Noah's chest loosened as Mrs. Carter brewed tea. Mr. Harris and Noah talked quietly in the kitchen. You did something brave today, his father said. Most adults wouldn't have handled this so responsibly. Noah looked down. I didn't want him to be alone in the snow. Mr. Harris cupped his cheek. Your mother would be proud. Those words, Noah hadn't realized how much he needed them. Within the hour, Mr. Harris contacted local authorities not to report Eli, but to seek help. The officer who arrived understood immediately. She spoke to Eli kindly, listened to his story, made calls, and arranged safe temporary housing with a local foster family until his aunt could be reached. Eli hugged Noah before leaving. You saved my life, he whispered. Noah shook his head. You saved yourself. I just found you. Eli smiled through trembling lips. Either way, thank you. And just like that, he was gone. That night, as snow continued to fall quietly over Eldridge, Noah walked home beside his father. Their footsteps crunched softly, their breaths rising like pale ghosts in the air. Mr. Harris cleared his throat. Noah, yeah, I'm sorry if I haven't been present. I miss her too. Every day. The wind paused, the world slowed. Noah blinked rapidly as warmth stung his eyes. I know, Dad. His father took a shaky breath. Let's try talking more. Maybe healing together instead of apart. Noah nodded, and for the first time in years, the gap between them didn't feel so wide. Snowflakes drifted gently around them, landing on their coats, softening the world. Their footsteps continued side by side, not lonely anymore. Epilogue. In the weeks that followed, The story of the boy found in the cellar spread quietly through Eldridge, not as gossip, but as a reminder of compassion, of courage, of the simple truth that humanity shines brightest in our coldest moments. Eli's aunt eventually arrived. She thanked Noah with tears streaming down her face, promising to give Eli the safe home he deserved. Noah visited Mrs. Carter every morning, still shoveling her walkway and adjusting her heater, but now with his father joining him sometimes. They talked more, laughed more, lived more. And every time Noah saw fresh snow on the ground, he looked for footprints. Because sometimes, the smallest steps lead to the biggest miracles, and sometimes, a single act of kindness warms a winter no one expects. Winter in Eldridge grew harsher as December rolled into January, painting the town in deeper shades of white and silence. Yet for Noah, the cold didn't feel as heavy anymore. Something had changed inside him, something small, warm, and steady, a feeling he hadn't had since his mother passed. Hope. He found himself searching for small miracles in ordinary moments. The steam rising from Mrs. Carter's mug of tea, the soft hum of his father making breakfast again, the quiet way the neighborhood kids waved at him after hearing what he had done. Even his teachers seemed to look at him differently now, not as the shy, quiet boy in the corner, but as someone who carried light. But the miracle he thought about the most was Eli. Even though Eli was now miles away, safe with his aunt, Noah couldn't forget the look on his face when he stepped into Mrs. Carter's warm living room, the raw mix of relief and disbelief. It wasn't the kind of expression you saw every day. It was the look of someone who was finally seen, and Noah knew exactly what that felt like. A letter in the snow. One morning, after another heavy snowfall, Noah found Mrs. Carter sitting by her window with her hands trembling around a pale blue envelope. "This came for you," she whispered, passing it to him. His breath caught when he saw the messy handwriting. Noah tore it open carefully. "Noah, I don't really know how to write letters, but my aunt said I should try. She also said you saved my life. I don't think I understood that at first. When I was hiding in that cellar, I felt like the world had forgotten me, like maybe nobody would care if I just disappeared. But you cared. You opened that door. You offered your hand. No one's ever done that for me before. I'm in school again now. It's weird, but good. I'm still scared sometimes, but my aunt sits with me at night until I fall asleep. She says I don't have to be afraid anymore. I hope one day I can be brave like you. Your friend, Eli." By the time Noah reached the end, the ink on the page blurred through the shimmer in his eyes. Mrs. Carter placed a frail hand on his shoulder. "Your kindness changed his life," she whispered. Noah shook his head. "Ours," he corrected softly. "All of us helped him." The old woman smiled in that gentle way that only comes with wisdom. "Maybe so, dear, but you were the first brave enough to walk down those steps." A town that remembers. Word of Eli's letter spread quietly but steadily. At the grocery store, the cashier ruffled Noah's hair. At school, the principal called him into the office not for trouble, but to thank him. But the biggest surprise came from his father. One evening, Noah walked into the kitchen to find candles lit on the table, their glow flickering softly against the window panes. His father stood by the stove, stirring a pot. "Thought we could try your mom's soup recipe tonight," he said hesitantly. Noah froze. They hadn't made that soup since the winter she died. He swallowed. "You remembered her recipe?" His father nodded. "I remember everything. I just didn't know how to face it alone." Noah stepped closer. "You're not alone," he whispered. Something broke open in his father's face. He pulled Noah close, holding him tighter than he had in years. "I'm proud of you," he said into his hair. "So proud." And for the first time since the world had broken, Noah let himself fall into the warmth of a father who was still learning how to heal. The return of footsteps. Weeks passed. Snow melted. Winter softened into early spring. Noah continued helping Mrs. Carter, spending time with his father, and walking the same path past her house every day. One chilly morning, as he approached the porch, something caught his eye. Fresh footsteps in the thin layer of snow, 2 sets. Not dragging or uneven like Mrs. Carter's, not wide and steady like his father's. These steps looked familiar. His heart pounded as he hurried up the walkway. There, sitting on the steps with a backpack and a shy smile, was Eli. "Noah, Eli." Before he could think, Noah rushed forward and hugged him. Eli laughed in unsteady, surprised sound and hugged him back. "I came to visit," Eli said breathlessly. "My aunt said it was okay. I wanted to see you." Noah stepped back and studied him. Eli looked healthier, stronger, happier, like someone who had finally stepped out of the shadows. "You look different." Noah said. Eli grinned. I feel different. Mrs. Carter appeared at the doorway, a hand over her heart. Oh my goodness, she said, tears welling. We've missed you terribly. And just like that, their small circle of hearts felt complete again. A walk toward dawn later, Noah and Eli walked together through the quiet streets, past the trees that still carried traces of winter, their steps leaving soft patterns behind them. You know, Eli said, kicking at a bit of snow, I used to hate winter. Why? Too cold, too lonely. Every time it snowed, it felt like the world forgot about me. He paused. But now, I kinda love it. Why's that? Eli smiled, his breath forming a small cloud. Because it led me to you. Noah felt warmth spread through him, melting something old and heavy inside. The snow crunched beneath their boots, a rhythm now familiar, now comforting. Eli nudged him gently. Think we'll always stay friends? Noah didn't hesitate. Yeah, he said, we will. And in that moment, with the sun rising faintly through the gray winter sky, their footsteps moved forward together, stronger, braver, and full of hope. Final message, because sometimes the world grows cold. Sometimes people lose their way. Sometimes hearts freeze, and hope feels too far away. But all it takes is one person, one moment, one small act of courage or kindness, to change the direction of someone's life forever. And sometimes, two pairs of footprints in the snow are enough to warm an entire world.